Excerpts from Freedom Dreams, The Black Radical Imagination by Robin D.G. Kelley. How do we produce a vision that enables us to see beyond our immediate ordeals? How do we transcend bitterness and cynicism and embrace love, hope, and an all-encompassing dream of freedom? Without new visions, we don't know what to build, only what to break down. Call me a utopian, but I inherited my mother's belief that the map to a new world is in the imagination, in what we see in our third eyes, rather than in the desolation that surrounds us. Any serious motion towards freedom must begin in the mind. In the poetics of struggle and lived experience, in the utterances of ordinary folk, in the cultural products of social movements, in the reflections of activists, we discover the many different cognitive maps of the future, of the world not yet born. Recovering the poetry of social movements, however, particularly the poetry that dreams of a new world, is not such an easy task. For obvious reasons, what we are against tends to take precedence over what we are for, which is always a more complicated and ambiguous matter. It is a testament to the legacies of oppression that opposition is so frequently contained, or that efforts to find free spaces for articulating or even realizing our dreams are so rare or marginalized. The desire to work through existing contradictions, rather than stand outside them, represents not so much a preference for melioristic reform over revolutionary change, but rather a recognition of the impossibility of standing outside of totalitarian systems of domination. Besides, even if we could gather together our dreams of a new world, how do we figure them out in a culture dominated by the marketplace? How can social movements actually reshape the desires and dreams of the participants? Sometimes I think the conditions of daily life, of everyday oppressions, of survival, not to mention the temporary pleasures accessible to most of us, render much of our imagination inert. We are constantly putting out fires, responding to emergencies, finding temporary refuge, all of which make it difficult to see anything other than the present. When the clouds clear, we shall know the color of the sky. When movements have been able to clear the clouds, it has been the poets, no matter the medium, who have succeeded in imagining the color of the sky, in rendering the kinds of dreams and futures social movements are capable of producing. Knowing the color of the sky is far more important than counting clouds. Knowing the color of the sky is far more important than counting clouds. Knowing the color of the sky is far more important than counting clouds. The most radical art is not protest art, but works that take us to another place, envision a different way of seeing, perhaps a different way of feeling. Freedom and love may be the most revolutionary ideas available to us, and yet as intellectuals we fail miserably to grapple with their political and analytical importance. Despite having spent a decade and a half writing about radical social movements, I only am just beginning to see what animated, motivated, and knitted together these gatherings of aggravated folks. I have come to realize that once we strip radical social movements down to their bare essence and understand the collective desires of people in motion, freedom and love lay at the heart of the matter. Indeed, I would go so far as to say that freedom and love constitute the foundation of spirituality, another elusive and intangible force with which few scholars of social movements have come to terms. We need to stop begging for inclusion in a corrupt system, take responsibility for transforming our culture, and remake ourselves as human beings.